صلى الإله على الحبيب محمد.
It depends on how one defines happiness. For some, happiness is just the freedom to engage and do as whatever they like. And that's not happiness for us. Happiness for us, I think, is realizing your human potential. And I think you can't realize human potential unless you follow the Muhammadan example, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as best as you can. Because for us, that's really the blueprint for happiness. And if you study his life, you see that there was a lot of hardship in his life. So it wasn't about ease of life, and it wasn't about access to things, and accumulating and acquiring things, as is, the modern quest for happiness. And it's ironic because once people acquire those things, they discover that it's actually not what brings happiness. So I think even modern psychologists would agree that, living a fulfilled life, right? And we would agree with that. I would say fulfilling in the sense that you are meeting what you're supposed to be doing here on this earth, right? And for us, we're here to know Allah, we're here to worship Allah, and we're also here to cultivate the earth in the sense that we are stewards and protectors and guardians and been assigned this over it, not to abuse it, not to misappropriate it, not to manipulate it. And when we are doing those things all together, then I think you'll have happy individuals, happy communities, happy families, happy societies. It's when things are in imbalance that people become unhappy, right? Because then their expectations are unrealistic, right? If you have an expectation, well, I'm going to be happy when I have X, Y, and Z. So if you never get X, Y, and Z in terms of things that you can own, then you say to yourself, I'm never going to be happy, right? So for us, happy in the sense that you have this feeling of fulfillment and contentment. You could be someone who has nothing. You could be someone who others would consider to be, in a state of destitution. But if you are content with Allah's decree for you and that which He has allotted for you, then you're a happy person. So really then the object is to try to be content with the circumstances that have been put your way. Some of the ulama refer to this as ahkam, that there's two types of ahkam, there's two types of rulings. There's the rulings, the five that we have to follow, don't do anything that's forbidden, and do everything that's obligatory, and try to do the recommended and avoid the reprehensible, and partake of the permissible in as much as you need to only. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, there's the ahkam as-sama, that, things, calamities, trials, tests, tribulations, these things that befall us, right? They're there not as punishment, they're there not as an indication of God's displeasure with us, but rather they're there so that we can know God, right? One of the ulama, Zarruq, he called it al-hukm al-ta'rifi, right? It's a way by which you can get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so an Islamic paradigm, which is I think quite different than any other, even other religious paradigms, is trial and tribulation and calamities that befall one are not an indication that you're doing good or not doing good in life. If that were the case, then none of the prophets would have had any trial and tribulation, and they all did. So that's not an indication, has no bearing on that. But how you deal with that situation, right? How you deal with those circumstances, right? And one of the things that I've found amongst the men and women of God is that you would never know that they're in kind of this really tough state. That they've lost a loved one and this person is sick, and they have this loss of job or but you wouldn't know that from their demeanor, from the way that they, the way they carry on, right? They have still the same kind of even balanced contentment with God, and that is the most precious type of knowledge, right? That's kind of the rarest type and the most precious type. And if you can get your hands on that, then that's the key to happiness, right? But even few of the people who are actually considered people of knowledge can actually realize that to its full potential. It's considered to be one of kind of the highest spiritual realizations, what's called maqam al-rida, right? The state of contentment with God. That is something that you may take a lifetime to find, or Allah can bless you and He gives it to you like that, and you find that for the rest of your life.